good morning, Lo.
Good morning.
Yes, here we are at the Royal Smushi Cafe.
Yeah.
And congratulations on your 10-year anniversary.
Thank you.
It was just May 5th?
I know, 5th. It was the day after. It was the day where the Second World War stopped, so we actually celebrated every year. So I chose that day to open. It was either that or the Queen's birthday, and I wasn't ready for the Queen's birthday, so it had to be the 5th.
Yeah, lovely. And so, the Royal Smushi, can you tell me a bit about how your family's been involved in the name and where that came, the inspiration came for the Royal Smushi?
Yeah, since we were going to be in a very special place here in Copenhagen, just next to Royal Copenhagen, which is an old company in Denmark that makes china for the whole world, and of course the Royal Court. I thought we need to do it Danish, and so everything is sort of Danish in here, but in a new way. And we wanted to put smørrebrød, which is open-faced sandwich, and it's a tradition that goes back to the 16th century to eat smørrebrød in Denmark. It's really important, and we wanted to do it, but in a new way. And I have been traveling a lot in Japan, and I just love the way the food looks like. It's sort of like a dance. They build it up in layer, and it's beautiful, and with flowers, and oh, so beautiful. So I wanted to do it like a sushi, and in small pieces, because open-faced sandwiches in Denmark are really huge. So we turned it into small pieces. And my son, he was only 17 at that time, I think, and no, 19. And then he was a trainee as a chef, and he said it had to be the word smushi that we use, because SM for smørrebrød and ushi for sushi.
You're a very stylish woman, and as soon as I walked into Royal Smushi, I was taken aback by the gorgeous aesthetic of old Denmark and new whimsical. It has a very whimsical, playful feeling. Can you talk to me about your experience in interior design before food and how that played into your taste for the decoration?
I have been working with the interior design for 20 years before this, and I used to do that for my business. And when we wanted to start this cafe up, and since it was Royal Copenhagen that called, they actually own the space, so it's rented out for me. I thought it had to be Danish, and I wanted people to feel like they were a little bit royal. Not a lot, just a little bit. So we took all the Danish icons, old-fashioned companies, and asked them if we could play a little bit with their stuff. So when you walk in, you are sitting a little bit high, sort of like a long table, like you were in the castle. And so you can look down on everybody. So, and also the color on the wall. Normally, back in the old days, red color was meant for the empire or the king or queen, because it was very expensive to make a red color. So I thought, well, we can't use the red color for the wall, because then it'll be really royalty. But if you use pink, and then it's almost royalty, right? And you're sitting a bit high on a famous chair. At least here in Denmark, it is very famous. It's been made by Arne Jacobsen. And you can't go into a shop and buy it, because you can buy the shape, but then it'll be in a normal height. Here it's a bit up. And then I thought we have to have chandeliers, but since we're still not a castle, we'll make it out of glass. So we asked a very old company in Denmark called Lo Østergaard to make the chandeliers, so it's modern but not modern. And then we picked pictures for the wall. It's not painted. We went to the castle here in Copenhagen to ask if we could take a picture. And just for the fun, there's a bit of Royal Copenhagen's cups in there, which on the time where these pictures was painted didn't exist. So and some people notice that something is actually wrong here. But it's also picked very carefully, because the ones that's on the wall in there is famous kings that made impact for Denmark. There's Christian IV. He built the whole town, and he was he was fantastic. He's well, everybody knows him. If they don't know the other kings during the row that have been, they definitely know him. And then we took Frederik VII, because he made the constitution here in Denmark and made the democracy. And he was married to a very special woman. I really admire her. She was very independent. She made kindergartens, and she made homes for women that was beaten up or treated badly. And these things, they still exist. That's something, right? Also, the logo is very Danish. We used to, back around the 12th century, to cut papers like our logo, and people were cutting this, and then they'll write a poem, and then they'll give it during a party or just send it to someone. And these poems, they were so naughty, so if I read them today, I would get totally red in my face. Even though that I'm very old, I would still get red. And they used to send it around and asking for, should we go outside and whatever. and then, so, but then it died. And then people forgot about this cutting. So in the around 1800, Hans Christian Andersen picked it up, and he actually made a lot out of it. There's books about how he could cut paper. He was very clever. And now it's a tradition in Denmark now. So the logo is it's two fairy tales together and hand cut.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I love that. So the Smushi, I'm wondering if you have a favorite Smushi that you love and what that is, or what is the most popular Smushi that's been successful for your restaurant?
I think the most successful Smushi is one with salmon. And I think it's not only that salmon is popular, it's also the way we do it. And now it's almost becomes a thing that we do every time. It's on the menu every time, because it's the way we roll it and wrap it before we serve it. And when we invented it, it was really something new. But I just love everything, and we have been doing everything. We even take courses, main courses from what you eat every evening, and put into a Smushi, and people sort of like that. It's sort of fun that you can eat dinner on a small smørrebrød. That's odd, right? But it tastes really good, and they like it. And in that way you can get your tradition very quickly, and you don't have to. Some of the Danish food takes time to make, and people don't have the time anymore, so they don't get. It's rare to get. So if they can go in here and have kalvefrikassé, some is one of the tradition in Denmark, or then they get happy and smile a little bit.
So 10 years is a very good amount of time so far having a successful restaurant. I'm wondering, for specifically women entrepreneurs in food, what you've learned, and if you could give advice to young women who are creating their own businesses in food, what would you tell them just a few words of wisdom that you might share with women?
Oh, wow, that's a big question. Can I give any advice?
Of course, yeah, or it can go casual advice.
Casual, right? Well, have a look on your figures all the time. That's very important, more important than you think. And keep on going for quality. And stick to your concept. Don't run away for the concept. That is that's a bad thing to do. It's really important to stick to the concept and develop that. That's important too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And get help, really. I think women, they are not good in getting help. They sort of think they have to do everything themselves, and that they have to be good all the time, which we're not. And sometimes we do things wrong, and they don't tell about it. They should talk about the mistake they do. We don't have to be so damn good all the time. Just show who you are instead. I think that's really important. That men are better in saying, well, it didn't go so well, but next time, and brag a bit. That's good too. You can brag. I think, women need that. Brag and get help. Yeah.
I love it. That's beautiful. Beautiful words. Well, I'm very excited to sample the smushi and have a wonderful experience eating it. I'm very excited. Salmon. Salmon is one of my all-time favorite ingredients, and I've been enjoying just eating the different salmon in Norway, and their small version of the
they have the
smørrebrød.
best salmon in the world. I think. Well, Canada is good too.
Yeah, but I'm very excited to try this, and thank you, tusind tak for taking the time for this. It's so inspiring to speak with you.
Same to you.
Yes. Tak.